There is a specific, quiet tension that hits right before you begin a massive project. You sit down, stare at the blank page, and the weight of the entire endeavor settles in. Building a strong body, a peaceful mind, or a successful career are heavy ambitions. They require thousands of hours of sacrifice. But our biology craves fast results. We want rapid change, and physical reality simply moves at a much slower pace. When faced with this mismatch, the brain triggers what psychologists call the freeze response. This chart maps the immense chasm perceived between your tiny present state and the giant shape of your ultimate goal. The brain calculates that gap, flags the distance as a threat, and instinctively shuts down your drive. You stop trying before you even begin. People usually assume this hesitation means they lack willpower. They think quitting early is a sign of personal weakness. In reality, failing to start is a biological trap. The sheer scale of the ambition creates paralyzing fear, locking you in place. The most effective way to navigate that overwhelming gap is deeply counterintuitive. You have to start impossibly small. We use a mechanism called microaction. Reading a single page or walking for 10 minutes is a calculated psychological hack. This dual bar chart compares the intense resistance your brain mounts against a massive project right next to the near-zero resistance of a microaction. By shrinking the task until it is too easy to fail, it slips past your fear filters without triggering the alarms. Once that step is small enough, the mind stops fighting. You drop quietly into a state of flow, doing the work instead of dreading it. The goal of a tiny step is never about the immediate output. The goal is to deliberately disarm your own psychological defenses. Getting through that first moment is critical, but the real work begins the morning after, when you have to wake up and repeat the process. This is where compounding accumulation takes over. An action that looks incredibly weak on day one builds invisible momentum, growing heavier and more potent over weeks and months. It mimics the slow, silent reality of geology. A single drop of water, striking the exact same spot daily, will eventually shape solid stone. Consistent, microscopic pressure applied patiently over time is the only force capable of overcoming absolute resistance. If you maintain these microactions, the internal landscape of your mind begins to look very different. The fear of the blank page fades. In its place, you acquire tangible proof of your own capability, altering how you view your own identity. Every tiny step you complete acts as empirical data for the brain. You are actively proving to yourself that the impossible task is achievable. Confidence is never a prerequisite to starting. Confidence is the neurological reward generated by the act of starting. With the fear removed, a new feedback loop engages, making daily repetition feel effortless. Building momentum. This exponential growth curve maps exactly how that timeline cascades. One day of progress quietly turns into a week turns into a month, and hundreds of tiny, distinct choices form an upward, unstoppable trajectory. You do not need to overhaul everything tonight. You simply need to commit to doing one small thing better than yesterday and refuse to laugh at tiny progress. Instant success is an illusion. Taking the next small step, quietly and patiently, will always conquer standing still.